Welcome, everybody, to the Fandom Nights podcast, where we break down pop culture one fandom at a time. I'm Chris.
I'm Sherman.
And I'm Dustin.
And today we are talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Book 1.
Book 1, Chepisode 11.
Yes!
Yeah, The Great Divide. This was released on May 20th, 2005. Please silence your phones.
Yeah.
And it got a IMDb rating of 7.0.
Excuse me, sir.
7.0, which is, I think, the lowest one that we've had so far.
It was a, what rated? 7.0?
7.0.
7. So, fun fact about that.
What?
This is the trivia that IMDb has. This is the lowest rating episode for the entire series.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So the lowest we'll ever get is 7 right here.
But this should be one of the highest episodes because one of our favorite characters makes a comeback. I'll tell you about that later.
Who?
Little tease. You'll see. You'll see. Okay, Dustin, take us through the story.
No. What's this little thing we...
We'll talk about it when
There's
it
no
comes.
character that comes
There's a one of our favorite reoccurring characters is coming
Cabbage
back.
Man?
No. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. Dustin, take us through the story. He's so confused. He's like, I don't remember any character.
I'm going to the end of the story.
I'm so curious.
Chris, you gotta say it now.
I will say it. We got a 20-minute episode ahead of us. Go.
I can't start
Hold on.
now.
At what point in the episode does this character show
Near
up?
the end. Just go. It's going to be great. The payoff is going to be so worth it now.
I'm right there with you.
Now that we're building it up so much, the payoff is going to be so worth it.
If you say something so stupid, oh my goodness. Oh, do you remember that snail from the first episode? Like, yeah, it's crawling on the ground in the background this time.
It's better than that. It's better than that.
Alright, so it opens up with Sokka setting up the tent. And Katara's complaining about the tarp and saying, you need to put the tarp over the tent because in case it might rain. And Sokka's like, it's dry season. And I like the extra warmth that the tarp gives me when I'm sleeping at night. And so, like, that's the whole bickerness back and forth from Katara and Sokka.
Just a classic roommate fight. It was kind of satisfying to watch, actually.
It was.
Because we've all been in that situation. Sherman.
I was literally thinking...
You were Aang in this situation.
I was
like me. It was like, yeah.
Because I'm literally thinking about the time, like the 2.5 years that we lived together, and I'm like,
No, we were good. It was
yeah,
just
you, me, and
other
Sam,
people.
like,
yeah.
So Sokka's like, why don't you go gather some kindling because what you got is pretty sorry. Gives you a couple of twigs. Yeah. And Katara explodes and she's like, if you don't like my firewood, and then it cuts off, but she's like, go get it yourself, pretty much is like what she was gonna say or whatever. And Aang comes back, done with his task, and he's like, where's the fire? Where's the tent?
Yeah, the tent
I got the grub.
I got the
tent
grub.
Just collapsed.
Yeah, where is everything? And then, harsh words won't solve problems. Actions will, Aang says. And
wise
he recommends
saying
they
right
switch
there.
jobs. That's the wise saying.
Wisest saying of the whole
that's a
thing.
good
Harsh
saying.
words won't solve problems. Actions will.
Yeah.
But we will see that comes to bite them in the butt once too.
Right. Yeah.
But
Literally.
Aang says settling feuds. I just thought about that now. Okay. Aang says settling feuds and making peace, all in a day's work for the Avatar.
Yep, he's so proud of himself.
He's so proud.
And he's like, what else can I do?
I can do so much. I'm the Avatar.
Oh, and then they call Sokka or Katara call one of each other. I don't remember who it was, but Mr. Lazy Bum. So it must be
Katara, yeah.
I just thought it was such a funny thing to call him.
So then it cuts to Momo trying to get this like watermelon fruit away from Appa, and Appa's literally just got like one finger, just barely holding it. And Momo's just like trying everything he can, like flying away with it, trying to push it, pull it, doing everything he can. He can't get it away. And then Appa like slips his tongue underneath when Momo leaves, and Momo like steals it right as Appa lets go of it. And then Aang gets it and like divides it in half. Not technically in half. It more like gave 80%.
He uses an air knife. He air bends it in half. Like, whoa! I didn't know you can make air that. That's pretty dang cool. I think this is the first time we ever seen him cut anything with air, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that was a power you could. I didn't know you could cut stuff with air. That was pretty cool. That's a
Like
thing.
in real world, you didn't know that either.
Well, I knew in real world.
Oh, okay.
But
So
I thought we weren't applying
scary.
real world physics to Avatar, Dustin.
You do every single day. That's why I was shocked you didn't bring this up. I was like, dude, you bring this up every 5 seconds. I need to address it. Good Lord. So he splits it 80% to Appa, 20% to Momo, and Momo complains like that's not fair. And Aang is like, this is fair.
He has 5 stomachs.
Yeah,
He has
5 stomachs.
That's the thing I want to point out was that he has 5 stomachs. So cows have I think 3, 2 or 3.
Cows have 4 stomachs.
They do.
Yeah.
What do they have? 2 something or other. 2 hearts or 2.
I don't know.
2 something or other. That's really
Science
unusual.
with Dustin. This
2
episode.
ears.
They do have 2 ears. Yeah.
Sorry.
Jeez.
So they run into a refugee who needs a canyon guide, and he's waiting for the rest of his people to meet up with him or whatever. And then these people called the Zhang tribe show up, and they confront the refugee. And it's pretty clear, and I got the name of what the cleaner-looking guys look like later in the episode. It doesn't give it till way later. But they're called the Ganjin tribe.
Ganjin, yeah.
The Ganjin tribe, and so it's the Zhang and the Ganjin tribe. And so the Ganjin tribe is clearly like clean and kind of wealthy, and they care about their appearance and status and whatever, and kind of stuck up and whatever like that. And the Zhang are like dirty warrior, like cavemen people, almost like that. So like polar opposites, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And so the guide.
But they're so similar in other ways.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And
with the leader of the Zhang tribe, her outfit is actually a reference to the last.
Oh no! Yeah, I got the names mixed up. Yep. Go ahead.
Her outfit is actually a reference to the last episode because the furs that she wears is of that creature that was like in the booby trap.
Whoa!
Like it has the same
That's like canon?
mouth.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh really?
Because her shoulder has like the 2 red eyes with that like monkey muzzle.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Sherman with,
so they must
Sherman
they
with
must
the details. I
live close
like
by
it.
then, because it seems like those monkeys are probably.
I mean, they did come out of like a forest area.
I'm sure those monkeys are inhabited that forest. Though,
yeah.
And like from that forest, so I'm sure they're around.
Oh yeah, they've got to be all over.
So then the guide comes in and just like earth bends his way into the picture or whatever. And
Star Wars moment. Lifting rocks. He just lifts a bunch of rocks, moves them over.
Do we need to say that every time someone earth bends? Or?
No, it just
the way he did it.
Because he lifts rocks to go save some refugees. It's like, okay, come on, Last Jedi.
Last Jedi.
What's he doing? Hiding underneath a pile of rocks?
Yeah,
he's just sleeping under
he
there.
It looked like he was.
This is my pillow, my blanket.
Another reference to the last episode, since we were talking about the whole like Batman like dynamic. I know, with Jet, but so the guy or the first refugee that you were talking about, the guy who does the voice of that, his name's Scott Menville, and I don't know if you guys know who that is.
The guy.
No. The first refugee.
Okay.
The one who belongs to the Ganjin tribe. Mm-hmm. Voiced by Scott Menville.
No clue.
He does the voice of Robin for Teen Titans.
Wow, a bunch of Robins.
Did you guys think at first that the same voice actor for Sokka did his voice too? They have a really similar
They have a very
voice.
similar voice, yeah.
Because I thought it was just the same voice actor doing a different accented voice. I thought it was the same one.
I guess now that you're saying that, I could see where you get that. Yeah.
It sounded, I don't know, just the way they talk sounded familiar.
But there's your pop culture like combination. So you have like the voice of Robin, who's done a ton of other things, but like no, we're just gonna have a random.
Yep.
His technical role is scout for this episode.
Oh yeah. So the refugees argue with each other about who gets the right to go with the guide first, based off of old people or sick people.
Yeah.
My people are sick. My people are old. Well, you guys wouldn't be so sick if you guys didn't live so sloppy. You guys wouldn't live so old if you weren't so clean.
That's the worst argument I've ever heard. You wouldn't live so long if you weren't so clean. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Keep in mind that's
that's
the first terrible argument she makes this episode, not the last.
Yeah. So Aang gets kind of angry and cuts in and stops the arguing and says that they're going to travel together, and Appa is going to transport the sick and the old people
at first
across.
he's like, oh, just resolving your little dispute was easy, but this has been going on for hundreds of years, and I don't know if I can do this. But then he steps up, and then I put that down. Why don't you guys just go together? And they're like, no! And then like 2 seconds later, he's like, you guys are going to go together. And they're like, okay. Like, do you want to? No, but I'll make you. Okay. They're just totally fine with it. I mean, not totally fine, but...
So Sokka is making sure if getting involved is right, like like getting involved between these two people. And Katara said that it's the Avatar's job, and it's in his description to bring peace.
Yeah.
And so the canyon guy says that there's no food, and that we're leaving in 10 minutes. So everyone starts just chowing
eating
down.
like crazy.
Because the food attracts these monsters at night, they call them canyon crawlers later on.
Canyon crawlers. I couldn't remember. I remember it was crawlers, but I'm like, what was the other word on there? Do you have anything on the canyon crawlers?
I honestly don't. I have no idea what the heck they are.
They're like wolf spiders or something.
But like 5 times the size of people.
Yeah. I put down that I got a lot of Starship Trooper vibes in this episode. They look like the bugs in Starship Troopers. You ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
No? Oh. What's the whole series? There's an animated show. It's a thing.
I'll pass.
There's a fandom.
I'll pass.
But anyways.
I follow good fandoms.
Neil Patrick Harris was in the movie.
Good one.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Cool.
But it just reminded me of it. Was this episode was Starship Troopers / Star Wars, but without the guns.
So
technology.
when the guide tells them like no food in the canyon, it reminded me of the very first episode because I'm like, where did Katara's just like walking around with that fish in her pocket, right?
Oh yeah,
like to help Aang.
Yeah.
And like. The second he's like, oh yeah, no food, it attracts canyon crawlers. You see a dude literally pull the biggest turkey, like chicken leg, out of his just pocket.
Out of
like,
his arm.
Whoop. No, like he literally
it
just...
was inside.
Whoop, and then just chop. I'm like, what are you doing just having...
It's a fashion choice in this universe is everyone lines...
Edible...
everyone lines their pockets with cellophane, so you can just throw some food in there.
That's an actual thing in real life, though.
Yeah, I know.
Because like you can get a pizza pocket for like...
I didn't know about that. Okay, that's the key.
Anyways.
No clue.
So they go down to the canyon.
Yep, then they die.
Earthbending happens.
They die.
So, yeah, the canyon guy says no food, leaving 10 minutes. And then, yeah, I noted that the Zhangs ate like cavemen, and that the other people were eating super sophisticated, like chopsticks and stuff like that.
I love how he dabs his mouth with it.
Yeah.
And the music behind is just like this proper little music, yeah.
The guy tells them about how the canyons were formed by the earth spirits, and then Razzie like saying that some avalanche of rock comes and almost hits them, and the guy just shoves them off to the side. And he's like, I hope you brought your sacrifices.
Yeah. And apparently they're still mad, so I hope you brought your sacrifices.
Yeah, I'm just like, what? Then a huge canyon crawler grabs the guide and like breaks his arms, and then Aang whirlwinds it away, and then they realize without the guide's bending that they're stuck in the cave.
Yeah,
or stuck in the canyon. I mean.
2 things about that. One, Sokka's boomerang worked against this thing. He hit it and it went poof, and it actually like knocked him away a little bit, as opposed to that spirit in the Winter Solstice where he just hit the butt and it was just like bink and like bounced off of him. It actually did some damage to this one. And then the guy broke both of his arms. Can you imagine breaking both of your arms? I don't know. That just,
I can imagine it, yes.
It's just crazy. But he breaks both of his arms, and then for the rest of the episode, I swear he has PTSD. Every time he sees a wall crawler,
I loved it. Like,
I thought he was like... I thought like maybe he got bit and had poison or something like that.
Oh, maybe.
That makes more sense, but I just love when he's just like, they're coming back for me.
Yeah. All 30 of them.
Every time. They're for me. They got a taste of my blood.
So, the tour guide, by the way, is another pop culture mix-in. Okay. So the guy who does the voice of him is named Leonard Stone. And I know this is a weird one, but so... He is the father of Violet Beauregard from the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. He is the guy who ends up saying,
"That's a deep cut." Man.
I know,
Holy
right?
crap.
But like when I saw that on his film stuff, I was like, "Oh man, he's the guy that actually says, Violet, you're turning violet."
Oh jeez. Okay, all right.
So after the canyon crawler goes away, the two parties start to argue that they started accusing each other that each one of them brought food, and that's why the canyon crawlers came. Mm-hmm. And they're like, these guys can't survive a day without food because they're whatever. And I don't know. It wasn't really that important, but...
That was her second terrible argument. Well, those stupid Ganjin probably thought that we brought food, so like we just
brought it anyway.
We just brought it anyway because
like, jeez, way to
like,
take the high road, lady.
That's the low road. All right, if they think we're thieves and criminals, like we'll just might as well just be
I
criminals.
hate that argument. Like, well, everyone looks down on me anyway, so I'm just going to do it anyways. It's like, well, you got to prove them wrong, though. Like, that's the... anyways.
That's society's problem in America.
And I like how they both of them, like, start talking about tarp stuff, and Katara and... Oh, it is. Oh, sorry. I thought we got there already.
You especially cut things to, like, all the good, awesome
I'm
parts
sorry.
that are,
Keep
like,
going, keep
not
going.
where we are.
I swear that we already talked about that because we're talking about the food. Go.
You sure you watched it last night?
Yeah.
It sounds like you watched it last week.
That's the exact part that, like, they talk about food, though. Like, they pull out
many
food
times.
during, like...
There's multiple times. There's that time and then at nighttime when they all pull the
Oh,
food.
I thought we were at nighttime already. Sorry.
No.
My bad. Keep going. Yeah.
Listen to Dustin.
Listen to Dustin. Follow Dustin.
Okay, so... Yeah, we can skip all the way past the nighttime thing, I guess.
Well, yeah, let's talk about at nighttime then. So, Sokka sees them not putting the tarp up. And he's like, right? See? Like, it's just funny how they all agree with them. And then Katara, they're putting the thing up and they're like, well, you never know. It might rain. And she doesn't even say anything. She just kind of gets this little smile. Just, See, I was right. And then they offer each other all the food and stuff. And then Katara is just like, well, I guess it's okay if everyone's doing it.
Way
It's
to
like,
peer pressure.
Whoa. Peer pressure is like crazy.
Right.
Way to justify your immoral choice.
Like, poor free will on her part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because no one really peer pressured her. She's like, well, I mean, if everyone's doing it, I guess I'll do it. No one's like, you need to eat this now. That's peer pressure.
I mean, if you want to be cool, you eat this bread, right?
Yeah. I don't think peer pressure is part of it. Yeah. So then I don't know what happens next here. I don't know where we are.
So after she eats the food, like, that's when they, like,
Tell a story.
each...
I know, I'm just trying to find in my notes where we
Oh.
are now, so I can skip some stuff. Continue talking, because I have no idea. Hold on.
I don't know what to talk about. Aang,
You guys watched the show,
we
right?
did skip that Aang split up, and Aang was off on his
Oh,
own.
yeah, because
And he
when
was
they're...
kinda-
When
which
they're,
I don't
like...
know why. What he just went away so they could both, like, talk amongst themselves, and then he could...
You'd think that, yeah, at
Impartial.
nighttime, he would have, like, joined one of them.
But I suppose because he's the Avatar, he probably felt like, well, I can't join either one, because then they would think that I was siding with them or something. So that makes sense, I guess.
Which, that's the other thing. So then the tour guide walks up and he's like, yeah, it's tough being impartial. And then, like, I'm like, all right, dude, how did you just, like, sit... I know it'd be tough. Like, it's not impossible, but to sit down, like, without your arms.
I can do it.
Like, yeah, but I mean, like, against, like,
Yeah.
with, like, random rocks around you. Like,
He's an earthbender, too. You think he would have been like, oh, bring up a chair or something to sit down
his
on?
arms are broken, doesn't mean he...
Oh, yeah, I forgot he can't bend. Never mind.
But I don't understand
You
why
can
he...
bend with your feet.
Right.
Toph does it literally all the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
he's
why
clearly
can't
not
he
that-
go like this?
Or like when he bends those rocks that are falling,
Like,
he
move
goes
your
like
finger.
this. Like you can still do that with. I don't know. It's just weird. Yeah.
And, like, Yakon, he, like, blood bended by just using his mind.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So, like, you
Yeah.
don't have to necessarily...
Yeah.
Also, I mean,
feel like
with
when
this
you're
series...
inexperienced, you have to because
I think when you're a master, you don't have to.
right.
Yeah.
Right. And this guy's clearly not a master.
I was going to say, because
He
later...
guides people through the canyon for a living, and he's absolutely terrified of the crawlers. Like, you're in the wrong profession, dude.
Well, it's never a problem. There's no food.
They've got that
Yeah, I
taste.
suppose. Maybe he's just never had food in the canyon before.
No, he has, because that's why he knows.
Oh.
But,
That's why he's so terrified of it.
yeah, he's like, don't bring food. Now we brought food. We're screwed.
Somebody brought...
Now my arms are broken. We can't get out of here. I'm the only earthbender. We're screwed.
We're screwed. We're all gonna die.
Unless the Avatar learns that earthbending real quick here, we're screwed. And I can't teach him, so. So, yeah, then we're at the nighttime, and after they do their little tarp tent thing conversation, they start talking about why they hate each other. They go back to 100 years ago or whatever, and, like, Jin Wei and Wei Jin, and they kind of talk about those stories.
Yeah.
Which the names, by the way.
Jin Wei
I thought it
and
was
Wei
kind of
Jin.
cool that they were backwards of each other. I thought it was kind of cool. Or opposites.
Well, I mean, we find out why the reason for that is.
No, we don't.
Hey, do.
Keep going.
Do you honestly don't remember?
Maybe we don't. I don't know. Keep going. I
Yeah,
don't remember, I
Did you
guess.
watch-
Yeah.
You didn't watch the episode. So Jin Wei was an earthbender who was tasked with transporting the orb from the east gate to the west gate for the sunset, sunrise stuff. And then Jinwei was knocked out by the Zhangs, Wei Jin, and then took the sacred orb. And their people have not forgotten since. And it noted they almost seem like bitter people that the Ganjins they almost seem like the bitter people because of the Ganjins, because they have no regret bringing food in, are just very selfish and arrogant. And then the Zhangs apologize for endangering everyone and bringing food.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of opposite there, too. Sokka didn't really care. He was just munching on some food. He's like, yeah, whatever. I don't care.
I know. They give him some food, and he's like, oh, cool. And he sort of feels bad, but he just keeps eating. And he, like, Katara asked for the story and all this different stuff. And then Sokka's just, like, eating, and he doesn't care, but the girl just wants to talk.
Right. So then the Zhang side is that Wei Jin was leaving the west gate and saw a figure from the other side. And Wei Jin was going to help Jin Wei, because Jin Wei was like knocked out on the ground or whatever, but Jin Wei refused and said the orb was more important. So Wei Jin grabbed the orb and tried returning the orb, and he got wrongfully arrested and was sentenced to 20 years for thinking that he stole it or whatever. And so the Zhangs will never forget what happened. They noticed how both parties said, we'll never forget what happened, yet they don't know what happened.
They both got it wrong. Yeah,
Right.
That's a good point. I don't remember that. Yeah.
So they both seem to forget what happened, but don't know exactly what happened. And then, so then the next day, Aang is trying to figure out a plan to get out of the canyon. And Katara and sometimes I do voice speech. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And when I try to do Sokka, I always do soccer, like the sport.
Soccer.
So Katara and soccer have become enemies.
Recording an Avatar
so
with a Boston accent.
So
Yeah.
Katara and Sokka had become enemies the next morning because of the stories they heard before. Like, they each got one side, and they were defending that side, and then they kind of, like, crossed their arms and were kind of back to each other or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, before you go, I do like the different animation styles of the different points of view.
I liked that, too.
I like stories that have different points of view. Like, I honestly did, speaking of Last Jedi, that's another Last Jedi reference, the different points of view. Maybe this is where Rian Johnson got his ideas. Anyways, I do like that there's two different stories and it's from two different points of view, and then they kind of come together. But one other thing about the guide, because that conversation with the guide and Aang being impartial and all that stuff happens right after they tell the stories. The guide says, "Oh, it's hard being impartial," and then he's just talking for a second. He sits down, instantly falls asleep. I'm like, what in the world is up with this guy? Maybe you're right about the poison thing, because he's just acting weird.
He got bit.
Yeah, he's either just a weird guy or he's poisoned. So.
Obviously, they can't show blood in this, or very much if they do.
That's the headcanon thing.
I can't remember if they show any blood. I don't think they do.
Not yet, at least.
Yeah, I don't think, not yet.
I mean, they might show like a scar, but I mean, they don't show blood dripping in the air or anything like that.
Yeah, interesting.
Again, it's Nickelodeon for 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
Aang tried to get them to work together. They almost do, but take it the complete wrong way.
Yeah.
And they whip out their weapons and start attacking one another.
Words don't solve problems. Actions solve problems.
And they're like, of course!
Yes, the Avatar is right.
The Avatar
He's
is
like,
right.
No.
Not that!
And I love how it cuts to a commercial and Aang's just like, yeah.
Oh, another funny Aang facial expression at the end, too.
Oh, yeah, the Avatar is right. And he...
No, the, what is it called?
No.
I got it here. Oh, the custard tart.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's way at the end. But, so then the fight scene between the leaders, the Ganjins fight. I wanted to take note on how they kind of fought. Like, the Zhangs kind of fought like cavemen, just barbaric, just like swings.
Okay.
And the other people kind of fought more like samurais, or almost like in a fencing style position that I noticed, because they're always kind of like had the knife out like this, and were always they were fighting a certain style opposed to just swinging a blade.
That's cool.
Aang airbends them away and then finds out that they both smuggled food.
Yeah.
And just erupts, just is super angry.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to him. He's like, "Oh, custard." He's like angry, and then he sees the custard, and he's just like, "Is that?"
Well, this is what I was talking about last episode when he was blowing Jet off he couldn't blow him off the tree, and in this one he just jumps down and goes, whoa, and both like armies basically just fly off to the side, and all the food goes flying. It's like, okay.
So in the defense for the Jet episode, like I think it's because like these guys were caught off guard.
Good point. I didn't think about that either.
I mean, Jet.
I definitely think Aang was holding back.
That too, but I mean, like Jet was like actively like, no, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But yeah, I love. He's just so excited
Yeah,
for that
Aang sees
custard.
some
He's like
custard.
so hungry.
His eyes light up like 90%.
If I'm hungry though, I mean, he's a kid, so kids do this. But if I'm hungry, I don't want to eat like something sweet. I want to eat like some bread or something that's gonna like fill you up and like something
You're an
hearty.
adult.
Yeah, I know.
Not only that, but I mean, like, the tough part is, like, everybody else, so, like, around them has, like, some type of meat. And you gotta remember he's a vegetarian.
Oh, but custard's made out of. What is custard made out of?
Well,
Never mind, I don't know.
it's an egg custard.
Oh yeah, egg. So he's a vegetarian but not vegan.
Yes.
We know that about Aang now. We're learning.
He's vegetarian, but not vegan.
Yeah,
Right on.
interesting.
Respect. So, yeah, I just thought it
Loves
was funny
some
that
custard.
when he sees that custard in its heart for the first time, he did, like, the kind of, like, the Stewie voice. He's like,
Yeah.
It's a...
Is that a
custard tart? Looks really good. I think I want it. And then all of a sudden, just like 30 canyon crawlers just come out of nowhere, coming down the mountain, smelling the food.
This is where the guy just freaks out.
Yeah, this is where I thought. I think the Earth Guide's got some poison in him, or he's just super nutty because he's like, they all came back for me. All 30 of them came back for him. I'm just like, that would be terrifying if that actually,
Yeah.
like, all 30 of them were just chasing him.
I mean, I would not want to face one of those things. It's terrifying. One of them, yeah.
Well, right.
Well, I mean,
Right.
especially with the size of they are.
I'm
Like,
just saying all 30 of them after one guy.
Yeah.
Like, that would just be
Yeah.
funny. They just chase him away, leave them.
He's Kevin Bacon, and this is Tremors. And they're all Jack.
That's like my mom and my grandpa's, like, one of their favorite series.
Tremors?
Yeah.
I just saw that on YouTube. They just released a
corny.
30-minute documentary about the making of it with Kevin Bacon.
Really?
I haven't watched it yet. But
I think I saw that.
yeah.
I didn't watch it, but I think I saw it come up.
there are 6 of those movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's... anyways.
Sokka and Katara make up, and they start to work together at the end, which is good.
Yeah.
I like Sokka's, like, rationalization during that part where he's
siding
like,
with them.
yeah, he's like, they fed me. That's the only reason I sided with them.
Hey, they fed me.
They fed me. It's
Fair
all
enough.
reason.
All right, okay.
So Aang brilliantly comes up with this plan to use all their people's smuggled food sacks and use them as muzzles on the canyon crawlers.
There was a lot of sacks, and they were big.
Right.
Like, they had a lot
Like,
of food that
they
they were
had
smuggling
a
in.
lot
A
of
lot
For
of food.
1 day's trip.
Right. Like,
For
oh
one
my
day's
gosh.
trip.
Yeah, and then they ate a bunch before they went in there, so it's like, you had a lot of food.
Like they
Anyways.
they raided a whole village before coming there.
I put on there lots of bags.
So they're pretty much all riding the canyon crawlers.
and right
after.
before they ride the canyon crawlers, they're all fighting in their own ways, like Katara's water whipping and Aang's airbending, and they're all kind of fighting. And again, Sokka uses his boomerang to great effect every single time. I'm just like, okay, you're
Every time he
turning
uses
into
the boomerang, it's always
like, from
great
now on,
effect,
or from-
comedic relief.
right from now on, like from the last episode on. I feel like he's just going to be. I mean,
There's some other funny boomerangs.
is there? Okay, every time he uses his boomerang now, I'm excited. So
I mean, you should still get excited because
Yeah.
either way, it's either awesome or
Right.
funny.
right,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So it's, either,
Yes.
it's always good emotion.
Yeah.
But so yeah, he comes up with the idea. They get back up there, and Momo just kind of naturally just flies up.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's funny that why Momo kind of stayed with him. Like he could have just went up to the top and just like laid down, and took a nap. And
Well,
just
they had
waited
all the
for them.
food with them.
Oh sure.
Momo just wants food.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Just chill out with some
He's chilling with
old and
Appa.
sick people?
Yeah, chill with Appa.
So
Who don't have
they're
food.
making their way out of the canyon. The canyon crawlers just follow food. What does that mean? I mean, this is my whole science thing again, but like the people.
Sugar maybe.
Oh, maybe
Maybe
sugar.
they're ants, enlarged ants of some sort.
So I was gonna say
Follow
like
sugar.
people to these giant wolf ant things are food. Like you could just eat a person, but no, they have to eat something cooked. But maybe it's the sweets that they're drawn.
Well,
to.
I don't know, because like
I think they're
like
drawn
that,
to the sweets and they'll
that
eat you
first
if they're there.
one. Yeah, I was gonna say because that first one just shows up and tries to take the guide,
Right.
like, and he definitely
because
doesn't
they
have food
still-
on him.
I mean, they all feel it's food, so that's why the canyon crawler came out. It's not like he just came out for the guide.
Right.
No, I know, but I'm saying
But
like
he grabbed the guide instead of
Yeah.
going for food.
Maybe the guy
or going
has
for
like
the
a
smell of the
history
food.
with these canyon crawlers, and that's why he's.
Well, he's like, dude, it's that guy again.
like, that's
Get
the
him.
one. Yeah.
It's the guy that earthbended and killed my friend. So Aang lets out a sigh of relief after they get back up because the two groups look like they're finally going to make up. But then they don't. And they continue to argue and argue, and Aang's like, wait, I was there 100 years ago. Like, there was none of that, none of this. He was talking about, and told them there was not two different people, but that they were brothers, and they were playing a game, and the orb was in a ball, and that they were 8 years old.
And this is something I remembered from the episode, so going into it, I'm like, oh, it's cool how the episode resolves itself. And then I was listening to Aang tell the story, and I'm like, this just sounds made up.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because I put in there, story sounds made up, ... and then I wrote some other stuff, and then right below that, LOL, because I'm like, it is made up, okay.
Right.
I like how the Zhang lady was like, wait, so it wasn't a sacred orb, it was a sacred ball?
No, just a regular ball.
Just a regular ball.
So, yeah, no one went to prison for 20 years. It was the penalty box for 2 minutes.
That is where our favorite character of the episode comes back. Richard makes a comeback. The panda Richard from the Solstice episode. He's the angry spirit, and then he turns into the panda bear.
It's just a
and
panda.
walks away.
It's just a panda.
No. He's a sentient panda that knows how to be a referee. So he was 100 years ago. He was this panda that was alive and refereed matches.
So
just 1 second.
No.
Remember my theory about Zuko, and you like that now. He was a referee of these matches 100 years ago. He dies, and because he's a referee, his whole purpose is balance. When he dies, his spirit becomes the spirit of the forest where he used to referee these things, and his whole purpose as a spirit is to maintain balance.
No. Don't.
So he, at the end,
so Aang says that one group was a little sloppy.
Richard made his comeback. So I was so excited. As soon as I saw Panda, I'm like, Richard's back!
Jeez. Every panda is going to be Richard to you.
Yes.
So Aang says that, yes, that Wei Jin was sloppy and Jin Wei was a little stuck up, but they respected each other's differences, and that speech made the two groups come together. Mm-hmm. And Sokka was like, it was some luck that you knew those two people 100 years ago. And Aang was like, yeah, I may have made the whole thing up. And then just had this really conniving, creepy look on his face when he said that, too. And he's like, but, yeah, I lied. And Katara almost looked proud. She was just like, awesome.
Yeah. So what did you mean earlier when I said that Wei Jin and Jin Wei, it's cool that they're backwards, and you're like, oh, you'll find out later. I'm like, that's not true.
Because when Aang says that they were twins.
Oh. So, but...
Because they're brothers who are twins.
That up, though.
Yeah.
So that doesn't... Yeah. I don't know. That I like to think that there was a little bit of truth to his story. I mean, he totally made it up, but there's definitely something that happened that is not... Like, both cultures are seeing it from the wrong point of view, you know? But, yeah.
So, their story, by the way, is what baffled me about the whole concept of, like, I think about, like, how long people live in this world, because it...
Oh, yeah.
Well, so, if it happened 100 years ago, right?
Someone from their tribe is probably alive.
Well, no. So that actually makes me think that only the Avatar lives longer than other people. Because, so when Aang meets Sokka and Katara is 14, right? Uh-huh. And
Grand's pretty old.
Right, but, so 70 years later, during Korra, she's 85, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, that is a reasonable age.
Yeah.
I mean, doable.
Does she die in?
No.
Oh, right.
But I mean, like, Korra lasts for, like, 3 years of her life. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't think
it's like 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
For Korra.
3 years past.
So, yeah, she's maybe 90 or close to 90.
Yeah, so, like, 90...
But so she's still going to live a long ways, though.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
But, like, there's no, like... 90 years is, like, the longest we have of, like, a time frame for, like, normal people.
112, King Boomy.
But he's a bender, too. Maybe Bender's a lot longer. But Gran, she's super old, too.
Boomy, we don't know how old.
Right,
but Boomy is also, like, even though he's, like, ancient, he's rocking an 8-pack.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, there is cases of over 100, but there is here on Earth,
right?
We're bringing real world physics into it.
But I'm just saying, I'm like, so it makes sense that, like, Aang, it makes sense that Aang would know who these guys were, but at the same time, I'm like, how does how does nobody in their tribes remember the actual story? Because, like, somebody had been, like...
Someone has to be close, yeah. Yeah, especially with how old the Ganjin are.
Right.
Their beards, white beards,
Dude,
super long.
yeah,
so, I don't know.
So that guy, by the way...
History is only written by the winners.
But when both consider themselves losers...
Or
Yeah.
consider themselves.
or winners.
All
So
right,
the leader of the Ganjin, by the way, hold on,
Yeah.
voiced, huge pop culture reference here, voiced by Renee Auberjonois. I know it sounds weird.
No idea.
Yeah, huge pop culture.
No.
Huge pop culture reference.
So for major nerds out there, you guys would actually, like, some people would actually know this. It's the same guy who did Odo from Star Trek Deep Space Nine for 7 years.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't really
Jesus
Star Trek.
Christ, people!
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I'll never consume a minute of Star Trek.
I used to like it, and it's not bad. It's the whole thing. I just have never gotten into.
You guys never heard of that guy?
No.
Wow.
Who?
Odo?
I already forgot about him.
So yeah, the episode ends with Aang is like, "Where's that custard tart? I'm starving."
Yeah.
And then that's the end of it.
I'm pretty sure it's down in the canyon.
Yeah, probably still down the canyon. Eaten by a canyon crawler.
I'm excited for the next episode. I don't know if you guys watched ahead on the next episode that's after this.
I specifically
haven't yet,
didn't.
no. I'm watching them as we're
I watched
on.
the first 5 minutes just because
Yeah.
I was done with this and I had some time to kill before I came. And I was like, okay, I gotta save this for later because
Yeah.
I want to take notes and it's just so good, so
Yeah,
juicy already.
I know. All right. As for bending numbers, there's 2 times the Katara water bended. That was it.
Right on.
5 earth bending. You'd think there'd be more in this one, but the guy gets his earth bending taken away pretty early, so 5 times that the guide earth bends, or earth bending total. 0 fire, because there's no Zuko in this one.
Or no firebenders.
No firebenders in general.
Because Zuko wasn't in the last episode.
Yeah. And then there's 13 of airbending. That one, it was a little weird because there was one time where Aang jumped from like way down to way up on this rock right before he split up the groups. And it didn't make the sound or show that he was airbending, but I'm like, he had to have airbended
I'd
right
say
there.
if he jumps what you think is more than 10
Right.
feet in the air, he airbends.
Right. And jumping.
If it's on screen.
Falling, I'm kind of not counting as much.
So
unless
hold on.
his robe
Are you giving him?
out.
Are you giving him permission to use real world physics?
No, I'm saying if it looks like he's jumping more than 10 feet in the
Right,
cartoon,
yeah.
he's using airbending.
Right. That's
Not
a good rule of thumb.
physics.
10 feet. Yeah. Like double his height, basically, because he's a 12-year-old. Yeah. It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good rule. I like it. Stick with that.
We need more.
We do need more. We do need more.
But yes, that's one of many.
All right. No Avatar State, no Spirit World, no real running jokes. There's no Cabbage Man in this one.
I wish.
No.
It would have
It's
been
very
funny. Was there any cabbages in their food? I think there was at least one. But
There's always
A lot of
cabbages.
meat.
Very
There's always
healthy,
cabbages.
nutritious.
yeah. All right, let's rate the episode. Dustin, what would you rate this episode? The lowest rated episode of this entire series. What would you rate it?
I didn't rate it. I mean, it's definitely higher than the last one, so I'm going to give it a 7 point.
Okay. Sorry, something weird with the camera there. Dustin, what do you rate this episode?
I rate this episode a 7.7.
7.7. Sherman, what do you rate this episode?
7.7.
I'd probably give it about 7.2.
7.2? Okay. I would probably be close to that as well. I'll say 7.2. It's a C.
It's an
low C. Yeah. 7.2, so it's about 7.5-ish, if I do my math right. That's Dustin, take us out.
So, thank you for watching this episode of our walkthrough of Book 1, Chepisode 11.
Yay.
Make sure to check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much, and see you next time.
Yeah. Perfect.
It was very perfect.
Thank you.
Well, Appa?
Yep.
Again, I don't want to be the last talking. I was waiting for you guys to.
You can really see where we do that yip yip because it's
Yeah.
Yep.